There are actually four principles to crime prevention through environmental design. First is access control, whether it is natural or mechanical. The next, what we have is surveillance, natural or either mechanical. We had a gentleman to speak about closed circuit surveillance. Territoriality, that is the theory of ownership, taking ownership not only for your store or your business, but the area in which your business resides. And lastly, we talk about lighting. Now, when it comes to, say, for instance, burglary, the crime of burglary, a burglar's worst enemy is time, light, and noise. So when you start to look at target hardening your location, you have to think about that. Now, getting back to crime prevention through environmental design and behavior modification. Now, with access control, we actually talk about target hardening. How do you secure your business, not only during business hours, but also after closing? Oftentimes, especially in the 3rd Street corridor, you see a lot of scissor gates or the ferry type gates or wrought iron gate doors. The aim of crime prevention through environmental design is to soften the looks of those particular applications by using other methods that would provide as much security as those particular wrought iron apparatuses will, but it actually softens the look and it is more inviting to individuals that will come into the area to shop and do business with you. As well as your movement control inside of your stores. Your store arrangement and the way you have it laid out contributes, whether you believe it or not, to your loss or your lack of losses. Now, any surveillance system that you can perhaps put up, there's always blind spots in those particular areas. You can put up 12 cameras in this one room and there would still be a blind spot. I could probably find a blind spot and hide behind it. So, hence, you have employees, or if you run a single business, then it is your business to be about good customer service. Actually walk and move about, greet individuals as they come in. Simple modifications to your entryways, such as door announcers, a little chime, doom doom, that lets a person walk into the location. When they walk into the location, the business person knows that they're in. So it's a heads up, look toward the front door because somebody either entered or exited. Now, when it comes to closed circuit surveillance, I am an advocate of a couple of things. I don't solely depend on mechanics and hardware to provide security for you during hours of operations. It is good customer service that will do that for you. Now, when we talk about access control, we talk about locks and locking devices. When we talk about surveillance, we're looking at either something mechanical such as video cameras or either natural surveillance which comes from another human being or a employee. Because lighting is one of the best crime prevention tools that you can ever utilize, and that is adequate lighting. So you would actually need an individual such as myself or some other person that is trained and certified in SEPTED to come out and look at those particular issues for you. Because too much lighting is just as bad as no lighting, depending on how it's utilized. Yes.
Why? Why is that so?
Because it creates glare. Like, say for instance, if we have a standalone building sitting right here, and you have lights on the building shining out, I could jump over the fence and walk in. You're driving down the street. Because that light is so strong on the building, when I'm there on the ground, that light will blind you from seeing me walking toward the building. So that's why we usually recommend light on the perimeter shining into a location versus light on a building shining outward, because it blocks people from being able to naturally surveil that particular location. And then also light pollution and glare. A lot of times. Oftentimes in a lot of corridors you will find that a business person will get up and put floodlights on their business, and there's a very, very busy intersection there, and they don't think about the cars, you know, right there about 2 businesses down, that the drivers have to look directly into that light when turning a corner. And you know, your eyes are light adaptive, and to go from total darkness into light, it takes your eyes 20 minutes to adjust. How long for your eyes to adjust? So, the proper application of lighting, the type of luminaires and lens covers that you use is very, very important. Now, as far as, in the line of crime prevention through environmental design, there are certain things that I like to use for business corridors. Celebrated entryways is a way of defining and giving those particular residential merchants inside that area the feeling of ownership. It's almost like the arts that you have going into certain areas. Paving does a lot for that too. Now, by saying that, if you have individuals that are, say, undesirable, or if you have what is called a negative activity generator, that's a spot. It could be a newspaper stand, it could be a trash receptacle where people come and prop. I know that the city now has gotten away from the flat types of receptacles for people to sit their drinks and things on and gather there, and going to the round ones because people have no place to put those items and hang around. But it is very, very important that you soften the look into your businesses, as well as limit the amount of signage that you put on your display windows. Signage should only cover about 15% of the window space. You should actually try to create a fishbowl appearance to your business. You can see out as well as individuals can see in. Now, what you can do is call our particular organization, invite us out. We will come out, take a look, give you recommendations on not only locks and locking devices as far as target hardening is concerned. If there's vegetation or landscaping around, there is what they call a 6-foot rule. The crowns of those particular trees should be cut and raised to about 6 feet, because the line of sight in certain areas, people don't realize that a lot of vegetation planters and things like that can lend to or potential attackers. Now, territoriality, that's the feeling of ownership. And when we look at CEPTED is a system where the main aim is to modify behavior through finding out what the root cause of the problems are and then dealing with them accordingly. Because oftentimes you can go out and you can put bars on that particular door, they're not breaking through that door anymore, now they're coming up and dropping down through the ceiling. So there are certain things that need to be looked at when you're dealing with crime prevention through environmental design. It takes in the whole concept of the business, where it's located, traffic flow, street lighting. If you have landscaping, it takes that into consideration as well. So our particular organization, we have one other person that's certified in crime prevention through environmental design besides myself, and Mr. Rob McKenzie is there and available, and we can come out and actually make arrangements to survey or perform an audit on your particular location. Now I'm going to spin right off into Business Watch organizing. Now, a wonderful thing about the 3rd Street about the 3rd Street Merchants Association, you already have an existing Merchants Association. It is very easy to spin that into a business watch group. You already have a foundation, you already meet based